it. Thank you for joining me for some more Crown Victoria Gambler build. Today we're gonna take a stab at lifting the driver's side front, and I did learn a little bit from last time. So even if I come across ball joint issues, I'm just gonna take that upper A arm right off. So that's the plan. Let's do it. Hopefully this time it'll be a little bit more instructive. Trying to get this caliper off. It's 18. Okay, that's probably enough for a ratchet. At least it's never seized. I see that sway bar link is buggered, but I don't think I'm gonna cry about that. This is the Gambler. Maybe if this thing ends up being like the greatest thing since sliced bread and I decide to keep it, but for now, no. Let's crack this upper ball joint. It's a 24. In you go, come on. Tighty lefty loosey. So it's going this way. Awesome. Oh, please come out easy. I think I'm gonna give this one a probably like half turn forward, quarter turn back. Kind of like running a tap, just to sort of avoid the problems we had last time. I see the threaded part is moving now. Let's get my specialty tooled, shortened 6mm Allen, and this sticks in the bottom of the threaded part. Well, it will once it's cleaned. I think there's still a little grimy up in there. Yeah, so that'll go in like that and hold the threaded bit while we unscrew the nut. I'm just tightening it a little bit every time to sort of free up the threads. I picked that Allen key channel as best I could, but I also picked the threads. So hopefully we won't get stuck. This is going to be pretty tedious, so I'll just cut to the end when I either succeed or fail. It took like 30 minutes, but it was worth it. Like sometimes it wasn't even just like back, it was like just shaking it until I was confident that I wouldn't round out that Allen key. And even towards the very end, I was using vice grips. So if you live in a salty spot, just take the time and work that thing off really slowly. Use lots of PV Blaster. And if you need any proof of that, just watch the previous video, or the previous couple of videos where I destroyed one of these and had to saw it out. So much more worth it to just go slow. Just rock the nut back and forth and take it off very slowly. Next, we got this. That's a 15. It's really gross looking. I'm actually going to take the pick and maybe a wire brush, try to clean it up, and then take it off. So I finally found a combination of tools that make this work. It's this narrow 15, not the one that I have, and this 1/4 inch ratchet that has a 7mm on it. And that's how to make this happen. Hopefully it'll stay good. I might end up doing the same thing where I have to like give it a little tap and then back it off. That's the wrong way. Well, there's the back off part of it. It's actually coming out pretty nice right now. go up top and unloosen the top of the strut here. I see on this side the ECU is in the way. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery. So, you know, just in case. I want to disconnect it anyway when I start sawing up the fender because, you know, I cut into it last time. Cut into the wiring harness. So we'll do that and get on it. And there's 5/16. Coming undone. Looks like it. Crazy how much smoother this is going. It's almost like I can learn. Millimeter bolts, and just like all the other parts of this side, if it starts binding up on you or getting a little too tough, just back it off like a quarter or a half turn and keep going, because we need those studs. So don't just shear them off or grab the impact unless you're really sure they're not going to break. I was able to fish this out. I just stood on it right here, and that got it low enough from that cup to haul it out. And if I need to, I could put the spacer on here, but I'm gonna get rid of this A-arm because that Allen key got pretty round. I did replace the other side, and I don't know how messed up it would be to just leave this side with the stamped arm. So I'm gonna replace it. These are 22s on the side. Unfortunately, the impact doesn't go in there very nicely. So you just got to do it the hard way. Speaking of the hard way, all right, there we go. Are there any other gamblers out there? I know my channel's a little small to get comments, but I'd love to hear about other gamblers. We went so far in my friend's lifted 1991 Mark II Jetta, and when he was off doing his thing once, we went on a little mock gambler with some friends with a clapped out Cherokee and a 1998 Mark III Jetta. That was a lot of fun. This was like mid-COVID restrictions too. The gambler wasn't happening. So after that, I disassembled that blue Jetta, and its TDI motor is now in the Rabbit pickup truck behind me. That's getting close to being done, but I really want this done. This is the one that's giving me the most headache. Friends that you would have seen in the last video, they did a gambler. They did it in a like mid-90s Saab. That was pretty fun. They blew up. We actually towed that Saab with the Jetta, a naturally aspirated diesel Jetta, which makes like 40 whole horsepower, and nobody in the Suburbans or anything wanted to help. I guess they were going to cramp their gambling style or something. And these have these weird domed bolts on the back. Actually, let's not take that out all the way, because I'm going to give it the hammer. Here it is. Maybe tighten it a little little bit so I get some more swinging room. Something you might want to consider when you're doing it. Okay, that's pretty flush. Wacky, wacky. There it goes. You can see we got a little crack on the back there. Let's take this off all the way. I wanted to be careful. You can see right up here and here there's brake line. Really didn't want to smack that because the brakes are probably like the only good thing on this car. Out you go. Not quite. And the best way to get that out of there is to get a pry bar on it. Just using one. There it is. It's going to be slow going, but that's the way to do it. Fine, we'll do it your way. There we go. Ridiculous thing, look at that. Factory tools. Let's wiggle this fella off now. Push this down. Not a lot of wiggle room. Let's see about maybe prying that too. Ta-da! It's kind of hosed, but otherwise it's almost reusable. Almost. So, I didn't get that bottom strut undone, but if you look here, the spacer fits under the cup. And when I stomped on it, I was able to get it shoved under there. So that's all good news. If you see, this bolt goes like right up to the hull. So I have to come in here and shave a teensy tiny bit off. Off camera, I put these nuts on those studs and then ground them down. You should always be putting nuts on these when you're going to do any grinding, because when you back them off, it cleans it all up. Make sure you can actually put them back on. They're kind of tedious, so I'm just going to take them off right quick, put that spacer on, keep going. Got that spacer on. Took a while, couldn't really get a socket or anything on those, but before you try to stick this all in the cup, you're going to want to get your upper control arm back on. This is a new one. It's the only way to get a ball joint. I could probably reuse that stamped one, but this little Allen key hole was getting a little bit round, and I already replaced the other side with one of these, so who knows what it'll do. So I'm just going to replace it. Let's grab our funky bolts, get that slotted on there. It's pretty stuck. Let's just get the other side. There's that side. And now we're on there. Let's get it started. I don't think it was that one. Here's one of them. Oh no, where'd you run off to? That looks like number 2. Just get those on there so we don't lose them. If you tighten them, it'll press all this rubber together and make it really hard to move later. And you're going to need to do some repositioning, so keep those loose. Get that way out of the way, and let's shove it under. In it goes. I think the best way, if you're doing it alone, is to drop the bolts down this way. That way you got gravity working with you instead of against you. This last one is barely in. There's like, you can see it, there's a big sort of crack on this side. As you start to draw on the other two, that'll go away. Okay, so the spacer and the strut are in nice and tight. I realized on the very last bolt that there's a second piece here, so you know, you can actually comfortably do that from a sitting position. I just didn't. Okay, and next, let's start getting stuff together. Let's take this knuckle. It takes a bit of finagling to get the sway bar in. In fact, I might have blew it. Here, that's going to take some lifting to get that to where it needs to be. Let's move some stuff for one. Needs to go up like half an inch. Luckily we have the uppy downy machine right here. Stick that down here. Close. in. Let's grab our 15 nut, get that started. Okay, that's pretty started. Now let's get in here and do ball joint. Let's grab it, move it. Ooh, pretty stiff. Man. Might have to lift this up a little bit. Still. It's really on there, isn't it? I feel like that should move. But I also got this down. All it needed was a bit of kinetic persuasion. Still dead. Alright, starting to swivel on me. I'm happy with that being started. Let's get on this one. I believe you were at 22. Not going to give that one the business. You can see that's coming out of it on the other side. Let's just move that, huh? I usually use a headlamp, but got the GoPro up there. Wobbly on there, losing the grip. Grab the 21 to finish it off. This is the 24. closest thing I have to a glove nearby. Perfect. Beautiful. I think I'm probably going to put the spacer on. That'll get it nice and snugged up on the side before I get the caliper on there. Gotta get this nice and tight. It'll be hard to retorque it. Nice. So there we go. One Ford Crown Victoria front corner lift done the right way. Now I didn't saw into the fender because I learned I'm gonna wait until I have a sawzall, and it's back on the stock tires because the guy that sold the other tires to me was a liar. He said they were 5x4.5, and they're not. They're 5x5 or 5x5.5. I gotta check. Now I gotta weigh, like, what do I want to do? Do I want to get some new tires for these 17s? Do I want to go get some adapters? Do I want to just go get some new wheels and tires altogether? But that's tomorrow's problem. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.